Welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show. And look at the set. Looks a little different today, doesn't it?
Indeed.
In person, we have an amazing guest today, Debbie Sodergren, an energy medicine intuitive guide. And I'd love for Debbie to share a little bit about what exactly that means, because it's so rich. It's info.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. This is a wonderful experience to be able to have with you guys, all three of you. An energy medicine intuitive guide is someone that has been trained in energy medicine and also has been trained with channeling, so they're able to get messages from the other side to help understand what's going on in the person in their physicalness. Yeah.
That's awesome, because the reason why we thought Debbie would be a great guest to have is that we are going to be talking about transitions and how to embrace change. Yeah. The reason this came up is our dear co-host Diane, who is with us on Zoom today for a very important reason, has a story to share. And we'd like Diane to share her personal story about something that she has gone through that has brought up much emotion. And this is something we're going to tackle together today. So Diane, why don't you share your story?
Okay. Well, first of all, I am here in my cozy bed because I caught COVID about 10 days ago, and I'm on the clear now, but still not allowed to be around people. So I thought we'd be safe and just stay here in my cozy bed. I have all these lovely covers and great blankets and pillows I've shown everybody before. But I just thought it would be a lot safer just to do this from my own bed today, my own cozy bed. So my story is about, let me think, a year ago, my husband became affiliated with his business with Wake Forest University, which is down in North Carolina. And at that time, he mentioned to me that we may need to move to North Carolina. And I said to him at the time, oh, well, you can move to North Carolina. I'm staying here. I love Stonington. I love it here in the north, and I love where we live. So anyway, it was a moot point because COVID was in full force all that time. But now things are back in person. And he said, let's head down to North Carolina and look for a house. And this was about a month ago that we made the plans to do that. So we went down last week, and right before we were going down, he did say to me, by the way, be prepared to sign a lease. And I'm like, lease? Oh my goodness. Like, I didn't know this is like for sure that we're really doing this. And then I started telling people and spreading it around to a few of my friends, and everybody was like, well, we don't want you to leave. We love you. We want you to stay here. But they're happy for me at the same time. And I feel the same way, really. I'm like, well, I don't want to leave. I love it here. I do have a feeling that something even bigger and better will happen for me, and there's some pull to go to North Carolina. And of course, I want to be supportive of my husband and all of that. But I go back and forth. I have moments of just feeling horrible that I'm moving and sad. And then I have moments of this could be the best thing that ever happened. So I'm so excited that Debbie's on the show today. Maybe she could shed some light on some things that I can do or feel so that I can make the transition easier.
I love the fact that you shared that you were resistant at first, because I think many of us start that way. And I'm so glad that you're here, Debbie, to kind of explain kind of what we go through, because I probably would have been the same way at first. Excuse me? No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's the truth. As human beings, we are put together in a way that we are resistant to change. And the only thing constant is change. So if we understand that rationally in our mind, we'll be able to finally accept it within our being. because there's no Diane, there's no such thing as a coincidence. There's a purpose for you going down there at this time. Yes, it's not only to support your spouse, you are walking alongside of him, but you are having your own experience. And so
I like that.
whatever you are here to do in Stonington and be in community up here, you've basically reached your growth limit. And so now you're being guided into the next adventure of what's going to happen for you. And in that, if you can embrace that, like when you were a child, when we were children, we used to go out and play. We used to look through the world as wonderment. We used to have a lot of curiosity about it. And if you could take those pieces into the adult Diane and just go through this new transition with all this wonderment and all this curiosity of what is this experience going to bring to me, you will be holding your vibration at a frequency where you attract whatever you think about, is how this works. It's a law of attraction. So whether you go into it with intrepidation and with fear, you're going to have experiences that are going to support that. The universe is going to throw things in your path that's going to support your idea of what that experience is going to be. So it's your choice. You can experience it with fear, or you can experience it with curiosity and wonderment. I wonder what this is going to be. How is this going to be so much better for me? I'm so excited to find out what this is going to be. Who am I going to meet? So if you can come to it from that vibration, then you are going to attract all those experiences to you to support that thought pattern. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's very exciting.
Yeah. I think it is exciting for you.
Yeah, that sounded so good. It makes me want to move.
Well, I think it just taps in so beautifully about how anyone can try to experience change versus their resistance to it.
Yeah, resistance is something that we have been taught. All of these things are either a belief pattern or it's been an action that we've witnessed in somebody else, and so we've imprinted and we've taken it on. And as adults, we kind of look at the world and we kind of look at our upbringing, and this isn't about making anything wrong. This is about, wow, okay, I can see that my parents brought me up this way and taught me this, but that doesn't serve me anymore. And that doesn't make it wrong. It just means you're ready for whatever it is that's going to serve you. And when you find what it is that you're resonating with and you see it being explored and being exemplified in some other either relationship or situation, or somebody's got the job that you always wanted, when you see yourself as that, if you can do a little daydreaming about that and think about it in a way where that's something that you want to bring toward you, then you will do that, because wherever you put your focus is what you're going to attract.
Sounds easy.
Yeah. It takes practice.
I was going to say it sounds easy, but I can't imagine. I think Diane had mentioned at first she was very resistant. I think a lot of times you feel the anger first,
Sure.
and the frustration, and
fear.
Definitely the fear. But getting past that.
Yes.
Isn't necessarily an easy thing. So I love how you speak of it, because knowing that you can get to the other side is great. But
Yeah.
how do we get there?
Well, if you think about what does it mean to be easy, whenever you have practiced something over and over and over again, and you've got that repetition going and you've got that pattern built, then of course it becomes easy. So a new experience is just that. It's a new experience. And so fear is just not knowing what's going to happen with something. That's all fear is about. It's because it's an experience you haven't had yet. So if we can intellectualize that in our brain and go, oh, well, fear is because, why am I fearful of this? Oh, I don't know all the facts. I don't know what's going to happen. So what you can do is you can shift that. Well, I don't want to be in fear about it because I don't like that feeling. Fear has a feeling of something bad happening as an outcome. Where if you shifted that thought process, instead of using the word fear, because words are very powerful, you use the word, well, that's interesting. Okay, I'm feeling fear. Let me shift that. What am I really feeling? Let's dig deeper. What is the emotion behind it? The emotion is, oh, I'm nervous. I got butterflies. I don't know what to expect. And when you have those emotions, you actually shift the fear into something, well, if I don't know what it is, can I be excited about it? Yeah, I can be excited about it. Am I going to be safe? Yeah, I'm going to be safe. Is this something that's going to harm me or somebody else? Nope. Well, then really, I just dismantled all the fear, and I've just put myself into a position of empowerment about, okay, bring it on. Let's see what this experience is going to bring me. How am I going to grow from this?
You just gave a beautiful, I think, an example of how you break it down to be able to go from breakdowns to breakthroughs.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, and the breakthroughs was someone being able to see what is this opportunity for me.
Yes.
And being able to start having excitement. And you've talked about the word wonderment, and really looking at things in a more open way of excitement and positivity.
Yeah, the word that came to my mind was anticipation. But I'd love to hear what Diane has to say about what Debbie just said, because she's kind of been living through these steps.
Yes.
What resonates with you, Diane?
Yeah, well, it totally resonates with me, and I have fluctuated back and forth. I have a question though for Debbie. How about the sadness that I feel leaving my close friends that I won't be able to just drive and see them easily anymore? What do I do with those feelings?
Sure, that's a great question, and it's a great concern, because you've made these connections and they're very, very intimate to you, and they've been supportive of you. You don't want to think that they're going to just go away. What's going to happen is you come to the realization that, it's okay to feel the sadness. First of all, you talked about the word sadness. I don't want you to stuff your emotions. Stuffing your emotions will just compound things. If you think about it, this molecular structure, this is a molecular structure vibrating at a certain frequency that gives you this form. And there's only so much space in it. So it's okay to have sadness. Sadness is an emotion. I want you to express it. If you feel like crying, if you feel like pounding your fist in the sheets, I want you to express that emotion. Because as you express it, you'll be able to work through it. When you stuff it, it just gets buried and other stuff gets on top of it until you have an explosion. Or it breaks, you hold it inside you, and it manifests itself somewhere in your body as some type of physical ailment because you stuffed it. So go ahead and express the emotion. Be sad about it. So what you're going to be sad about is you're going to miss the gatherings. But you're going to make new girlfriends. You're going to have new gatherings. When you're feeling like you're missing the girlfriends that you're really connected to, the wonderful thing about living in this time and space right now is technology. And you have the opportunity to FaceTime with them. You have the opportunity to tell somebody, hey, bring a tripod, a small table tripod, bring your camera, and let me be in on the dinner that you're going to be gathering and having, and let me be in the room with you. It's making the space for it. You're just going about it differently. That's all.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you. It made me cry just thinking when you were talking about it.
Oh, well, good. Expression of tears, because it's a little bit frightful, it's a little bit sad, but it's a little bit exciting too. So your tears can be all of those things all at the same time.
It's so funny that you mentioned technology, because Diane's part of our show here, and we have been speaking about different ways to continue to have Diane as part of the show, and technology is definitely one of them. So, and of course there's a plane to get down to see her.
Yeah, you will be inundated with your girlfriends in the winter months up here.
Yay!
For
That's
sure.
something to look forward to.
And then I think another piece that we
I feel
had talked
too
about.
that there's some way maybe I can connect my friends that I meet down there with my friends up here, because I like to connect everybody.
And something we talked about earlier also was when you're sitting with those emotions, there's a time to pause and reflect.
Yes.
And do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that's a time to tap into source?
Sure. So what I like to do, one of the things that I teach my students is when I've learned this information years ago, back in the 90s. So I've been doing this for quite a few decades. And back then, when I started doing this and going to school for this, my husband's concerns, because he's very conservative and he doesn't think the way I think. He's not put together the way I'm put together. He hasn't had my experiences. And so what we did was, I forgot the question. I went off
Pause
on a
and
tangent.
reflect.
Oh, pause
And then tapping
reflect.
into source.
So through my trainings, I have learned those things, and I love to pass those skill sets on to other people. And it's really good to, in your day, take some time to kind of, take it for yourself. And if you think you have a busy schedule, stop putting yourself on the back burner. That's the first thing, especially as women. We are famous for putting ourselves on the back burner, and then we burn out, and then we're no good to nobody. So pause and reflect. In your schedule, once this week, take some time on your calendar for 15 minutes and just put me time. And set a timer. And I want you to then, when it's me time on your calendar this week, I want you to go grab a candle. I want you to grab an inspirational picture and grab a journal. And I want you to reflect on what it is that you're feeling outside of what it is that you're doing. Those are two very different things. Sometimes when we're working in our business, there's something going on in our marriage that we're not addressing. We're just losing ourselves in our business. Or there's something going on in a relationship with a girlfriend that we haven't addressed yet. Let's take the time and let's find out how we feel about it. Take some time to journal about it. And invite your guides to come in. And a great way to do that, there's certain tools that I share. With what you're going through with transition and you need to make space for new experiences, I want to give you permission to let go of a past experience that had a negative outcome to yourself. I want you to give permission to hold space for that and let that go. And what that would look like would be have an effervescent, an Alka-Seltzer tablet, have a bowl of water. And as you're sitting in your space with the 15 minutes and you're lighting your candle and you do your 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth and you just get centered to what you're doing, just imagine with your mind's eye that you see this, wherever this angst is that you're holding in your body, maybe it's usually in the gut somewhere. I want you to imagine with your mind's eye that that is going to go up through your body and it's going to travel down through your arm to the pen that you're holding. And as you're holding your pen on the Alka-Seltzer tablet and you're just kind of scribbling, I want you to just express that emotion onto the tablet, that angst, whatever that experience was. I want you to just put it onto the tablet. And when you're done, put the pen down, take the effervescent and place it in the bucket of water, the little vessel of water that you have. And I want you to be with it as the effervescence release those emotions and release that experience back to neutrality, back up into the universe. I'm telling you, you will feel it within your body and you'll feel like, oh, I can breathe again. Okay, so what do I want to put in that space? I want to put the new experience that's coming. And by putting the hope in there, then you are getting yourself ready and prepared for your next experience. So breath work is a huge tool that I like to have people use. Journaling is another good tool. I know it sounds ridiculous. I was like one of the last people. I'd sit in class for, I'm talking 6 years. Yeah, journaling. All right, yeah, whatever. That was my attitude about it. And it wasn't until I started doing the journaling after I graduated that I really started having my opening, my awareness just expanded. And I was able to transfer what I was holding inside me onto a piece of paper so then I could just do a little reflection without having my ego attached to it and just be like, is that true? Is that not true? I've been telling myself that all up here.
Right.
But once I transferred it onto paper and I read it, it was like, huh, that's interesting. That no longer serves me. That's not truth for me. I would wad up the paper and I would, my ritual that I would do for it is I would burn it in a fire pit, or I would burn it in the winter in my wood stove. So those are some of the tools.
Yeah.
And
Those are great tools, and I think the process of, seeing it through
Yeah.
certainly makes sense to me. Are there any other tools that you would recommend?
so there's breath work, there's oracle cards that you can use.
Speaking of,
We have a set right here.
Yeah. So I've always worked with oracle decks that other creators have made. And recently I was challenged at one of my mastermind, because I have coaches and mentors that I go to in order to be my best human being. And one of my coaches challenged me and said, I really think it's time for you to do your oracle deck. And I said, really? And they said, if you do that, I'll highlight it for you at one of my events. And I was like, there's an opportunity. So when opportunity knocks, get out of your own way. So instead of in my mind sitting there thinking about, I have no idea how I'm going to create this, how am I going to do this, how am I going to get it printed, how am I going to get it out there, like instead of doing that, I acknowledged it. I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking about, oh gosh, I'm sitting here thinking about, how am I going to do this? I don't know the first thing about it. I stopped what I was doing, and I shifted it by snapping my fingers, breaking up the frequency. That's another tool. And I thought, okay, so I trust that Source will bring me the people that are going to help me have this come to fruition. And they did. And so I made this deck, and there's 3 different pillars. They're live, love, and lead. And I draw these every day for myself and for my clients.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So great for you to come on the show and share these tools with us. And you know what's really kind of neat is that we've just shown everyone how we're going to have Diane on our show in the future, much as she's going to come back before then. I think that's great.
And Diane, what tool or tools really resonated for you to help you in this flow of transition?
Well, I'm just reflecting on the thing with the cards right now. I think that would give me focus. So I need to get a set of those cards from you, Debbie. So I can just choose a card in the morning and then reflect on it, correct?
Yes. Yep, you journal about it, on what it means to you in that moment.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, it's been so...
It gives my mind something to do with a purpose. I like that.
It's been so great having you on our show, and thank you for sharing such inspiration and just ways to deal with every-day life.
Well, thank you for having me. And you know, life is supposed to be enjoyed. So why not learn the tools and enjoy life?
Let's go out and do that.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful having Debbie with us today and being able to really lead us through this wonderful conversation about, you know, transformations and change, because we're all experiencing them in our lives in many different ways.
Right, and the takeaway message after, of course, talking about fear and change is simply embracing life and enjoying it. So I really took away that the issue about, like, it's not about fear, it's really more anticipation. You're not going to know what's on the other side, but don't think that it's going to be negative, right?
So we always have to bring ourselves back to the present moment.
Yes.
Realizing what is our emotion and how do we help ourselves, how do we support ourselves through that emotion. The breathing, the journaling, the snapping fingers. That was a new one. I didn't know the snapping fingers.
Right, that one.
So thanks, Debbie, for that one.
So we can embrace all these little things, but what I'm also thinking about is, like, how are we going to enjoy the rest of this summer? I mean, I think that we can. It doesn't need to be complicated, right? It doesn't have to be a trip across the country or across the world. We need to kind of learn that we can do these things about, you know, embracing our environment and surrounding ourselves with people who we love. That's how we really enjoy life.
Right.
We don't need to look forward to, you know, big things on the calendar all the time.
That's right.
I think when Debbie spoke about carving out those me time, those me times can truly be those times where you're really embracing life.
Well, isn't that something that we all became so aware of and really started to cherish during COVID? Was that it could be the more simplistic moments of being surrounded with those when we could, that, you know, we loved, and how did we make the most in the present moment and the time that we had. And I think now the fact that, you know, there's much more opening up for us and being able to connect and have those gatherings, you know, sometimes just those gatherings collectively of being together for a cookout or a lunch or a picnic is just such a wonderful thing.
And to be mindful when we're there, to be present. Right?
Yes, get off your phones.
Because you've not been with people or with these people. There's so many people you haven't seen in so long. So embrace these opportunities.
And the silver lining, right?
Right.
It's all about the silver linings.
that's kinda why we're
where
here.
we find them in our lives, or we find them in our days.
Right. So, Diane.
One of the ways we find the silver linings that I love is what Debbie mentioned about the being a child again and the wonderment of what is going to happen today. What will I find out today? Who will I meet today? Right?
Right.
Right.
So with that, I don't do well with goodbyes. I don't like to say goodbyes. So I just like to say to everybody, see you soon.
And we know everyone will. We're going to make sure of it.
Right. And we also thought, like, it'll be interesting to see how we see Diane,
Right.
because Diane may be with us on set,
Or she may.
or she may be on Zoom,
Or in a video clip. Who
or in a video
knows?
clip. We don't know how she's going to be with us, but she will. And we're so excited to still have Diane as such an intricate part of our show and still give us those fashion tips, for the seasons and as we go along, because we love everything that you bring to the show, Diane.
Right.
Oh, and thank you
Absolutely.
so much, both of you, for making this an easy transition for me, because this is part of the transition I was really nervous about. Like, how would I continue to be part of the show? So you've made it a beautiful, loving, supportive experience for me, and that I really thank you for.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Yes, until next time, we wish you all finding and embracing the silver linings in your days.
See you soon.
See you soon.